Welcome to our IFTA media launch. We'll kick off with the what, why, and top 3 benefits to IFTA and ultimately what we're doing here today. IFTA is the International Federation of Technical Analysis, a professional global education society around the world, and with 23 affiliated societies on a local level that is connected internationally, speaking one common language, a unique spirit that we will discuss at more length later on. IFTA's got a 30-year track history founded by industry pioneers, and they hold a gold standard diploma in the CFTE program, the Chartered Financial Technician. Now, just a quick point about our mission, the why factor, education is at the heart of our mission. Also, the advancing of research through higher learning through the MFTA master program for those that want to develop new innovation and ultimately take our discipline to the next level. And then finally, driven by people and professionals in the field, it's all about community, fostering that spirit of learning together and sharing ideas with like-minded professionals with a passion for all things markets. And now I'd like to intro co-hosts, who we are, a little bit about our approach, career backstory, and then also what IFTA means to each of us. I'd like to lead with Bruce Fraser, industry-leading Wyckofian, senior teacher of graduate-level courses at Golden Gate University, working closely with the late Dr. Pruden, an IFTA board member and contributor to stockcharts.com. And on my side, Ron William, CIO and cross-asset tactical strategist at RW Advisory, director at IFTA, and the Foundation for the Study of Cycles. Bruce, over to you.
Ron, so great to be here. I'm so excited that we're doing this together. And this is going to be the first in a series of episodes that are going to be, I think, oriented towards the history, the heritage of technical analysis, and also new and exciting things that are coming out of the very fertile minds of the technical analysis community at IFTA. So, Ron, it's so great to be here. And I'm very excited about working with you. We have worked together for a number of years on many varied projects, which have been very exciting. And this is just another in the line of interesting things we've done together, which is also a big part of the joy of IFTA, is the camaraderie and the work that we get to do with like-minded people that are very interesting and exciting. So with that, Ron, great to be here.
Thank you very much. And I'm equally excited. We've been planning this for some time. And as you mentioned, working with each other over the years on various different projects. My favorite, the IFTA conference in San Francisco more than a decade ago. Truly special experiences shared there with leading speakers, great professionals, and not to mention the beauty of the location. What I wanted to share on the onset, just as an intro to who we are, but more specifically how we do what we do as market technicians. Bruce, a little bit about your approach. So I mentioned the Wyckofian approach. For those who may be hearing that term for the first time, what is it and how useful has it been in crafting your approach and in trading the markets that you do?
Wyckoff, Richard D. Wyckoff, crafted this approach to market analysis and market trading well over 100 years ago. I mean, it really goes back into the late 19th century. And his career as a very successful market trader goes back into the early 20th century. He wrote a number of books, articles. He published a very important magazine, the Magazine of Wall Street, where so much of his methodology was laid out in that. And then also at the end of his life, he wrote a course, the Wyckoff course. And what I would say about Wyckoff is, very briefly, is that Wyckoff is a pure technical methodology that uses vertical price charts and point and figure charts, and really emphasizes the analysis bar by bar and structurally, looking at the structure of accumulation and distribution, uh, for the potential for very important markup phases and markdown phases. And so using just vertical bar charts and volume and then point figure analysis, he was able to craft that into a methodology. Methodology is a very important term because that sets the essential rules for how to conduct a campaign, whether the campaign is intraday, daily, weekly, monthly, that and it's scalable. It's a term we use today as fractal, and we use these rule sets to identify when an emerging trend is developing, and then to participate in that trend with appropriate risk management. And so we would teach that. And so I'm giving a very high level overview of this, but it is purely technical. As a matter of fact, when I was first starting out doing this 40 years ago, I was doing all my charts by hand, my vertical charts, and also my point and figure charts. And I really appreciate having done that, because today, with the advent of the very, very powerful personal computers, all of this work is done for us. But I think that there's great value in learning the skills and the methodologies by actually putting a pencil to paper. And so, but I'm very old school in that regard. But also, I had the great good fortune at Golden Gate University to teach there for 30 years. And I taught a graduate level technical analysis program and taught many of the courses and developed the curriculum for many of those courses over those years. And I used to teach the class that was the basically the foundational survey course of all the technical analysis methods and techniques that were in the tests, like the CFTE. And so I was able to teach students how to prepare for those exams. And so I had a broad spectrum of study and analysis in all aspects of technical analysis. And then finally, I'll say, just to establish sort of my personal history, is that I had the great good fortune of having as my business partner for many, many years, Martin Pring. And he was my technical analysis hero. I had others, but he was my technical analysis hero. And I got to work, study with him, under him, learn his great wisdoms about markets and how to characterize markets from a technical perspective. And I'm extremely grateful for having had that experience. And he remains to this day one of my dear, dear friends. And also I can still consider him a mentor. So with that, there is sort of the Wyckofian method.
Thank you very much, Bruce, and wonderful to share the beautiful story behind the story, as it were. And just a few insights that came to mind. One, Martin Pring's book was the first one I ever read when getting started in the industry.
Same here. Same here.
So I mean, isn't that a milestone in itself? That you know, the contribution itself in print is the very thing that we use as a starting point for getting into this industry and learning the discipline.
Absolutely. And who could have known at the time, because that was Hank's textbook in the class that I took from Hank at Golden Gate University when I was a mere graduate student. Little did I know that one day I'd be teaching these courses, and that I would ever get to meet Martin Pring, much less us becoming partners and working together for many, many years. I mean, it's like a dream come true. But this all happened because I was an active member of an IFTA affiliated society, which is what we're going to talk more about today, and how there are many more of these great stories that are unfolding right now that will become evident to us in the years ahead by other great people all over the world that are developing their skills and their abilities and developing new approaches to technical analysis. Technical analysis does not stand still. It's constantly being innovated and improved upon, and that's very exciting. And IFTA is very much at the center of all that.
Absolutely. And it's ultimately what brings us all together. I mean, in this space right now with our media launch on behalf of IFTA, but also all the various activities that have been organized over the last 3 decades around the world. And it's all in the spirit of learning, but also working with like-minded professionals. And just to briefly circle back to some points you mentioned, old school can and still, I believe, be the new school. When I started out approximately 30 years ago as a late teenager exploring career paths, certainly the society was there as a bridge to cross and explore what that opportunity could be. And I can share more about that in a little while. But the point is, my first mentor asked that I chart by hand. And I can tell you at the time, it did not seem cool. But years later, I was very grateful for that teaching, because it really did what is now referred to by scientists help develop the muscle to mind connection.
Yes.
And ultimately have a deeper sense of chart action, which ultimately we accelerate our learning in once we start to trade or build more analytical practice. But certainly beginning offline by marking that chart, I think to some, yes, old school, but for those of you that like to turn old school to new school, still something that I very much recommend.
Well, tactile is a word that comes to mind as you speak about this. And I used to have a big stack of charts that were vertical charts that I would update every day. You'd sit there and you go through chart by chart. And then I had point and figure charts, big stack of those, and I'd update those every day. And and I had to go find a newspaper with the daily closing prices in it to be able to do my updates. So there wasn't the ability to get on the internet and do that. So you had to go find the paper with the closing prices to be able to do that every day. And so I would go through and do those, but that tactile work where we would be, marking down those prices slowed down our minds and had us in the moment processing what's going on chart by chart by chart through the day. And I think that there was something really special about that. And now there's a number of ways to approach this, so I don't want to advocate for any one thing, but I print off my charts that I'm actively involved in, and then I am writing notes on those charts and writing down my thinking. And I'm still, putting pen to paper, and then also tracing out the bars on the printed chart so that I can process, slow down my brain, really think about what's going on, which allows me to include more of the nuance of what's really happening. Now, that's how I do it. There are a number of people that do it differently than that are very, very successful. But I'm just, these are things that you and I have both done in the past and have found them valuable. But just some personal experience. And but Ron, I want to hear a little bit more about what you do and your approach, how you view markets, because it's very interesting and unique.
Thank you. So, and just as a preface, for those of you who are on advanced learning using computers and AI and machine learning, we'll speak to that right at the end in terms of topics that we'll be discussing at great length in future episodes and with guests and whatnot. So, for those of you who want to fast forward to the future, we'll get there and we'll follow up with lots of interesting insights. But just some best practices shared between Bruce and myself that some of you may find of interest. And back to your question, Bruce, yes. So my work is basically a blended approach of macro, fundamental, and technical, leading with the behavioral sentiment of charting and crowd psychology. But the nuance, as I think you and I share, is this understanding that crowd psychology ebbs and flows from greed to fear in the shape of a cycle. And so cycles is really at the heart of what I've learned to do in later years, based on expanded work on the roadmap signature model developed by mentor and veteran market strategist Robin Griffiths, also co-founder of IFTA. We can maybe speak to the heritage of IFTA later on in future episodes. But essentially, it's blended approach, multi-factor focus on macro fundamentals, technicals with a lead on the behavioral and cycle side, using a blend of qualitative and quantitative filters. I'm a little bit more on the discretionary side, as I think everyone can tell in terms of our story about charting and the classic approach. But I do believe in the power of computers, and I do appreciate the high-powered abilities of scanning, scoring, ranking, not to mention system testing and the whole statistical underside of what that can bring. So that's very much my approach. And just in terms of the career backstory, as I mentioned just a while ago, started nearly 30 years ago during my teenage years. So I hopefully look a little bit younger than I sound. Developed a passion for markets, behavioral patterns, ultimately crowd psychology, coupled with the phenomena of cycles. And yes, one of my mentors and colleagues who I still work with today, Mr. Robin Griffiths, as well as previous to Robin, Mr. David Fuller, that many will remember in the UK, but also in the US and parts of the world where I've met former subscribers and students to his chart seminar. It was learning both of their disciplines in both market psychology, but also market cycles and behavioral finance or behavioral tactical analysis, that I combined the two and continue that work in the best way possible. And then just to end, it was earlier to meeting the mentors, and mentors is probably the big takeaway there in terms of what we hope many IFTA members and future professionals that join IFTA can benefit from. This whole idea of learning from others is just so important to, capturing and preserving the heritage of early pioneers and then taking on that baton into the future, which is really what we're all trying to achieve here in the spirit of what we're doing at IFTA, but also with this media launch. So for me, in addition to the mentoring, it was also learning curve accelerating during personal training, and that also then helped in terms of career development, in terms of learning by doing, and then working with a range of institutions across sell side, buy side, and now for more than a decade, CIO of my own firm, RWA, focusing on advisory and training. So that's some highlights of my approach and career backstory.
Excellent. And just to say that technical analysis as practiced by IFTA member societies, individuals, and so on, is that we really do work at being on the cutting edge of technology. And that's always been a signature of really of technical analysis and the technical analysis community is to be on the cutting edge of all things techniques, methodologies, which very much includes the computerization, data management, data mining, and so on. And so this is very much a part of what IFTA is about, is to help encourage and support this. And so even though we talk about old school, we very much embrace the new school. And I think that, Ron, that we're in the golden age of technical analysis because of all of the ways that data visualization is being created because of the sheer power of computerization today, and the ability to visualize that that work. And so we, as an example, at my society that I'm a member of, and we are all members of the individual societies that are part of the federation of the IFTA group, is my society, we're doing a tutorial series on data analysis, data mining, and AI. We have an AI expert who's coming in and doing periodically over the course of the year a series of literally lectures on artificial intelligence to help us to understand more fully what it is, how it works, how we can embrace it and use it in financial market analysis. And so we definitely see the value of being on the, might I say, the bleeding edge of technical analysis and data analysis using these tools. And so I really, really want to emphasize that also, because that's always been the case in our community from the very early days. And, we intend to just continue to work very, very hard at that.
And at the heart of what you just shared, which is exactly on point, evolution. We're preserving the heritage of the past, but we're also taking that torch into the present and the future. That includes adapting to all the changes that have happened over the years and continue to. And just to add, yes, the impact of the technology to our industry and to our discipline, we're undergoing ongoing educational development with our gold standard diploma, CFTE, within the realm of quantification and testing and a more rigorous statistical grounding. And in future, in terms of our YouTube and media wide launch here and now, we will be interviewing some guests. So there'll be plenty of insights to hear from the world leaders in this field. In fact, some of them are IFTA, part of the IFTA leadership on the board level, good colleagues of ours, Bruce and myself sitting on the board at IFTA. Others are at the local level, as Bruce was just saying just there. Incidentally, Bruce is in a different part of the world, and the beauty of being connected virtually, US West Coast and myself in the UK. So, we really do bring minds from across the world in each of these areas. And if I may, Bruce, just to circle back to the point of in IFTA's impact story to each of us briefly, and then building on that in terms of the heritage and the pioneers, those that have won lifetime achievement awards, what's that all about, and how important is that? If we pave the way in terms of how IFTA and our local societies have impacted either of us, Bruce, to lead us on that point.
Well, thinking of the heritage of the International Federation of Technical Analysts, and then also the individual societies, 19 individual societies around the globe in different countries. And we have 4 developing societies. Very exciting. 23 total societies. And the thing about technical analysts and technical analysis is that it is a common language. It is the language that we all speak, even though that we come from the four corners of the globe, which is very exciting because we can come together and sit down with chart studies and this work, and we can sit down and speak that one common language of data visualization in its many varied forms. And it's so much fun. It's so exciting. But we also recognize the very important uniqueness of every single society, because every country, every region of the world has its own special issues and concerns regarding how their financial markets function and how regulatory environment, you name it, everything. And so the local societies are so steeped in those local issues that it really behooves somebody who lives in that area to be a member of that local society, because you're among fellow society members who have experiences and are working to help everyone in the organization to benefit from the collective knowledge of the people that have come before them. And so I've really enjoyed, in fact, I was on the West Coast of the United States. We had a San Francisco based stock exchange. And I had many of the traders of that stock exchange as dear friends and fellow students at Golden Gate University. Some of them became students of mine later on, but we were in the heart of Silicon Valley. And so our emphasis on the West Coast was those Silicon Valley stocks and the very uniqueness of the industry as it existed for this technology space that existed on the West Coast. And but that's just an example of how our society was able to support and benefit our membership. And this is true for every society around the globe. But we have a larger common interest, which is in the International Federation of Technical Analysts. We have a common language, a common focus, where we can bring the experiences of our varied members together into a global understanding of the tools and capabilities of technical analysis as they influence and impact all financial markets around the globe. And so it's dynamic, I believe, Ron. And here we are, you and I are good friends. We've collaborated for many years, and we're halfway around the globe from each other. That all happened because of IFTA. And I'm so grateful for that, because we all have those relationships. And so I have great local relationships and I have great international relationships, and it's enriching. So Ron, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really brings back memories in terms of the path that has been walked, and how ultimately we were unable to do that through the professional community that we're part of, the vehicle and platform that IFTA provides locally and internationally. And actually, one of the memories that come to mind is the global conference that rotates around the world year on year, from region to region, US, Europe, Asia. That actually allows us to meet in person, each time in a different part of the world. And we get to hear from truly, global leaders, both veteran pioneers and rising stars, in terms of what their latest insights are, market outlooks in this very precarious environment that we can sometimes be in, as well as developments and innovations in the field. So essentially, I mean, in my mind, the IFTA impact story is driven by learning at the heart of our education mission. We are strengthened by the professional community and networking together, learning from each other, and ultimately supporting, teaching, mentoring within that space and intention. And then the only other point I was going to say, Bruce, is contribution. Something that you and I have spoken about a few times. If it wasn't down to the individual and collective contribution that every single member and participant make, top down, bottom up, that truly is the difference in terms of developing the societies and creating ongoing education, but also just sharing ideas and creating that space.
Let's talk a minute about education, because I'm very interested. I mean, I was an educator in this field for 30 years and worked with a lot of young people that were very interested in this knowledge base, but at the same time were new to it and wanted to become better at it. They had a passion for it. That was me at the very beginning. It's like I didn't know anything. And I started to take Hank's classes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do. I love this. I love this concept. I love this material. I want to do it. And I want to emphasize the point that you just made about education, because for a young person who really has an interest in this material, in the concept of trading using technical analysis, or in doing analysis, or being an analyst in the industry, is that IFTA and the individual societies are a great place to go to build up that knowledge base and to become even more capable and have a greater understanding of how technical analysis applies in all its varied ways to financial markets. And so I really want to emphasize this is a place for young emerging technicians.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a big part of being an active part of that community across the different demographics. Also, as part of the benefit of being active, sharing ideas, contributing events, webinars, so whether it be live in person or online, publishing, great opportunity to publish in our newsletter, in our journal, depending on what the ideas or outlooks might be. And then also just a call out to those of you that want to help and volunteer. I mean, Bruce and myself, we've been doing that for many years, and it's a labor of love of sorts, but for a reason. There's a passion for what we do. There's a passion for the discipline, but also for the development of that discipline across the community around the world.
Yeah, young people, and I'll speak for myself, is when I joined the TSAA SF Society, which is one of the founding members of IFTA. When I joined that, I didn't know anything. I was a newbie in every regard, but I just wanted to be there. And I just showed up and I said, what can I do? What can I do? Can I set up chairs? Can I lick stamps? Can I don't know if they do that anymore. They lick stamps. I don't know. But anyway,
we have a modern day equivalent, whatever it takes.
But I'm like, put me in, coach, put me in, let me do something. And then as time went on, I developed friendships with more senior people and learned from them. And they're like, this kid's useful. He's good to have around. It's like, let's teach him something. I don't know what they were thinking, but it was so much fun. I just enjoyed every aspect of it. And I'm just encouraging people, whether or not you have some experience in markets, or whether you're really new to it, but you think, I really love this stuff, I want to know more. Get involved. Just do what you can. There's always a need. There's a need for more people, more help, more enthusiasm. And this is, I believe, was the key ingredient that allowed me to get to the point where, I've just been involved in IFTA and in TSAA and other societies for years, is because I just keep showing up and setting up chairs. I guess that's all I'm good for. But anyway,
well, we share that same commitment here at the local level in the UK, the British Society of Technical Analysis. For some time, I was also living and working in Switzerland, and that then opened the door to supporting the Swiss Association of Market Technicians, and then ultimately you and I now with IFTA on the board. And in addition to that, I've always been we've always been focused on education but also on my side with the education committee. So whatever role people decide to do, whether it's local level, international, and whatever the different focus areas might be, yes, it's a choice that you make, but ultimately there's so much dividends that get paid back over time. Certainly in hindsight, that's what we're both realizing and sharing with everyone. And just on that, as a segue, Bruce, I wanted to share your perspective about the pioneers of our discipline, the lifetime achievement awardees that ultimately, impact, innovate with their body of knowledge. A few words on that, and just to highlight the last three in the years of 2023, 2022, and 2021, we had Martin Pring, Larry Williams, and Wells Wilder. What words can you share with us about the pioneers, the lifetime achievement awardees, and the impact that they give?
Well, and I've had the great good fortune. Larry Williams is, I consider him a friend and just a great contributor. And then, of course, Martin was a partner. And the thing about all three of them, along with the others who have achieved the award, is they were all innovators. They were all bringing something new, innovative improvements to the art that is technical analysis, and have contributed greatly. Lifetime Achievement Award means that very thing. And so people stepping up and innovating and creating new things, might be data. In the future, it's going to be AI related, data analytics, I'm sure, and other things like that. But it does show that we are on the cutting edge in this wonderful field, and that we want to embrace that, and that we want to develop that and develop edge. I always talked in class about developing edge in what you're doing. And so this is something that's very important to people that operate in markets. And how do you define that? How do you define your edge, and so on? And we used to teach that and talk about it in class. And methodology, how do you define methodology? And so we had here, just one of the topics that we had was system testing, programming, and AI. And so these are all things that we have very much have as an interest of wanting to deliver to the community. How do you do system testing? How do you do programming and AI development, which are all things that are going to be revealed to us with time and work. And so, again, one area that was very new, I think, to technical analysis years ago now, but we really focus on it, have classes on it at Golden Gate University, behavioral finance, something that you've been very much involved with, Ron. And behavioral finance is a breakthrough of thinking in academia. And so we wanted to bring those experiences, the knowledge base, to the community. And that's one of the things I think that IFTA can do for the benefit of our individual societies, is that we can go out and find those people that are doing this work and deliver that to the memberships of the individual societies, so that people can benefit from this in all four corners of the globe, and benefit from it quicker. Not that people don't eventually figure it out and discover it, but for us to be able to get these key influential people, get them to IFTA, and then disseminate it out to the individual societies. I think what that effectively does is it accelerates the learning process to our community, which we so care about.
And this media launch is part of that intention, essentially available on video, audio, podcast, and print. But ultimately, you can watch back this either live in the moment. In future sessions, we'll plan that, but also at your own convenience, as and when you have that extra time to listen, learn, laugh, and enjoys the spirit of what is shared in terms of the energy, the drive, but also the general stories that we'll also hope to capture in terms of the different characters that we will bring, but very much on the body of knowledge in terms of key principles, classic methods, as Bruce just mentioned, behavioral finance, trade psychology, that's a whole piece in itself. Market timing and cycles, another area that both Bruce and I hold dear to us. I'm also connected with the Foundation for the Study of Cycles, so there's lots of segue resources there in terms of the work of Edward Dewey and many cycle pioneers in the field. The power of a method, I'll pin that to you, Bruce, in the sense of just how important it is not just to learn technical analysis techniques, but to develop it into a systematic method. I mean, that's a whole,
so important.
Could be a whole series.
So important, because technical analysis is so many different things, but how do you organize it and bring the key tools together in such a way that it becomes an organized decision-making process that has the edge of producing results consistently over time. And this is essential to the concept of methodology. And so this is something that we really want to emphasize in this effort that we're doing here, is to bring these concepts and ideas of methodology and edge, back testing, and so on to the community, so that we can be really super effective in our individual efforts and operations. So now, Ron, as we run out of time here, we're getting close to the end. Bring us home. Bring us home. What do we have to look forward to in the future episodes of these sessions that we're going to do here? Tell us about this. Give us a preview.
We're already confirming guest speakers, including lifetime achievement awardees and the pioneers of our industry, so that there's a big list building in that focus. So plenty of insights there. Also rising stars, and we've alluded to a few times some of the technological innovators out there that are contributing in an accelerated way, both on the IFTA leadership level, but also local societies and industry professionals. There's plenty for us to feature. We've even discussed doing a panel discussion of experts in each of these fields, because I mean, even let's bring them all on virtually and get that energetic discussion, debate, and accelerated learning taking place. And then also just keep in mind that this is going to be available across media, because everyone likes to listen, watch, and read in different ways. So it will be YouTube primarily, but that will also be available on podcast, audio, print, in terms of our IFTA quarterly newsletter. And just remember, you know, the whole mission of IFTA is education, advancing research, but also community building with professional, like-minded people that have a passion for all things market. So it's been a real honor and pleasure, Bruce, to launch this IFTA Media Series together with this greater good intention. And I'm really looking forward to bringing in some feedback from the people around the world. Please like, share, and comment, as they say in social media world, so we can get to hear your voices. And I think, Bruce, we also discussed engaging with questions pre and post sessions. So if people do have questions, they can really send it to us. They can also send requests in terms of who they'd like to hear from. Yes?
My concluding thought here is that, and whether you're a professional or new to the world of technical analysis, we want you as part of our community. The way you become part of our community is you don't become a member of IFTA directly. You become a member of your local regional society. Go to ifta.org and you can see a list of the societies around the globe find one that's most appropriate to you, contact them, become a member. And through your membership at that society, you automatically become a member of the IFTA. And so that is how it's done. And so be a member, an active member of your local society. And then from that, you are really, truly being an active member of IFTA. And we look forward to you being a part of our wonderful community. And with that, Ron, that's sort of what I have to say. Any parting comments?
Only to echo what you just said, be active, become a member, contribute, and accelerate your learning in markets, because ultimately that's the path that we're all here on. Honor and a pleasure, Bruce, in launching this debut episode together, and looking really forward to future ones to follow. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, everyone. And see you next time.